Very excited to talk to you. This is a very, very fun film. Um, I guess the first question has to be, as a person yourself, do you believe in karma that bad people deserve bad things to happen to them? I mean, there's a lot of questions that kind of come up from this where you think, well, do bad people deserve bad things, or is it just like how does that work out in the wide scale range of things?
It's very funny. I think I probably did used to believe that, especially as someone who grew up Hindu. I mean, it's literally where karma comes from. So I suppose I inherently believe that. But what I think it actually is about is your choices. It's really about your choices. At any given moment in life, you know, we have more or less a choice. Some people's hands are tied in various ways, but we have a choice as to, what decisions we make. And I think that's kind of the sort of fable of this story. And what I believe is, you have a choice as to how you behave, the things you choose to, where you choose to place your moral compass. And yeah.
I do have to ask, is there any fun stories or any downtime when both you and Joseph were in the vehicle? Because I would watch a whole series just on those two personalities alone, be it in
Yeah.
that car. Like, I mean, I don't know where it would go, but I think it would be very interesting.
There's probably some fun outtakes somewhere that you could cut into like a episode of something because we did spend a lot of time in that car. Yeah. But I loved working with Joe. I mean, he made me laugh a lot. But also it was great to talk to him and sort of chew his ear off a little bit about his experiences and his his philosophies on various things. He's a fascinating guy and he's a real thinker. And I really enjoyed being around that and working with him.
Cool. I've interviewed him before. What is it do you think that you learned, or something that surprised you that you learned about him, maybe?
I learned about him. I mean, other than he's a massive nerd like me, which is great. Because I was like, this guy's super cool, but he's also just a nerd, which is fun. Um, but
Uh,
it was what I learned from watching him work. Well, most of the time when I work with actors is like I just watch them work and I learn things from that. Especially people like Joe, who've been doing this for such a long time. You're going to learn a lot from what they do, and his commitment to this role, the way he built it, the sort of energy he brought to every take was really amazing, and it helped me elevate my level, I think. So yeah, I guess I learned a lot from him in that regard as an actor.
Uh, can I ask, how did you see Will? Because I feel like there's a lot of backstory there, to what made him become who he was by the time we met him, I guess.
Yeah, I had my own sort of ideas going into it, and then when we got to where we were shooting near Southport in North Carolina, I met up with Lily James, and we had just a little chat about who our characters are and what their history is, what's led them to the town of Providence. Um, and so we made a few decisions here and there, but largely the idea being that this was a fresh start for them. That they'd been through a lot, and Will had been training himself. He'd been earning his stripes, earning his badges in the academy, and then this opportunity's come up, and it's quite a sleepy town. They're going to have a baby. They're going to live a quiet life while he does pretty, unrisky police work, and everything's going to be fine. What could possibly go wrong?
Dun dun
Um,
dun. Yeah.
yeah.
I do have to ask, it's been 5 years since yesterday too. What do you
Mhm.
think your life since that time, and also, your connection to Lily now too, having, that first time you met her to now and being comfortable, I would guess more comfortable acting alongside her too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it, I feel like
9 years. Sorry, is it nine? No, 5 years. 5 years. Sorry.
no, it's been yeah, it's been
Right.
6 years since we shot yesterday. So it's been about 6 years since we met, six and a bit years since we met, and 5 years since the movie came out, which is terrifying to say. Um, yeah, she's wonderful. She's a lovely person. She's a ball of energy and just joyous, all the time, and a real hard worker, and it's just easy. I just find working with her really fun and easy, and yeah, I keep saying that this is the second time of this is the part two of our sort of trilogy, which eventually will cap out. Uh, but it'll either be very soon or it'll be like when we're pensioners. So I wait to see that. But it was great sort of doing something so different to yesterday, you know, a completely different genre, characters in a completely different situation, uh, completely different accents. So it was a wonderful thing to be working with someone again, someone who you admire and who you have a lot of love for in a completely different sort of environment.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of this world and the idea of imaginary creation. You went from this from a rock star of sorts in yesterday, and then of course we see you as fun other things like Dr. Watson, or now this police officer too, and then her, of course, jumping in between. She's Pam Anderson for a second, and a couple other things, and now she's a pregnant wife here. So. What has acting kind of shown you throughout the years, you think? What is it kind of giving you in the way of kind of freedom or just maybe new flavors and tastes in life?
Certainly given me that, especially over the last, what are we now, about 7, 8 years, it's really taken me places and changed my life completely, changed my outlook. Um, you know, it's helped me grow as a person and see parts of the world that I never would have seen otherwise. Um, it's one of the beauties of my job that I really love. And I hope that it continues for as long as I'm, blessed to be doing this. Um, yeah, it, the joy of it for me is that you get a new story every time, you get a new character, you get to dive into the mind of another person, and you really have to withdraw judgment. You know, we can look at a story like this, for example. When I first read it, I was reading it going, "What are these people doing? They're just making the worst decisions, like ever, bad decision after bad decision." But when it comes to playing the character, I have to remove those judgments and really have to find the humanity in that person. So that's a wonderful exercise, I think, because I don't know, you really then start seeing the world in that way. That there are some horrific people out there, of course there are, but you always kind of go, I'm going to just have to look under the hood here and see what's made them that way, and then
Right.
you really start to understand.
Many people who have watched it have all kind of given a very knowing nod in some regards to Coen Brothers and Fargo. Did you see that when you read the script? Did you see that kind of real life like glimpse and like just a snapshot of these people's lives at this time?
Yeah, I think there was something about that, the sort of setup, with the pregnant wife and the, police department, bag of money, and the sort of parochial sort of, the small town setting. Um, it's a setup that I think we enjoy um, watching, especially in the sense of sort of an element of sort of Americana. I think as someone British, when I think about movies like Fargo and other movies like that, there's something about sort of a snapshot of American life that I really enjoy seeing. These sorts of these towns where people are just happily living in communities, and their communities are everything to them. It's actually really lovely. Obviously, then it's you're watching a story about how that community is completely upended by horrific scenarios, but there's something quite comforting about that setting for me.
Now, I'm hoping to see you in a couple of weeks, but since I have you now, can you tell me anything
Mm.
about the assessment? because it looks like a great film, and I'm kind of excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it on a big screen. Actually, I saw a cut a little while back, but actually, I'm not sure I'm going to see the final cut until the TIFF.
Toronto.
Yeah, so I'm excited. We shot it about a year ago. I'm really proud of doing it. I'm proud of the film. I think Fleur Fortuné, who's directed it, is an amazing new talent. I think she's really going to sort of announce herself, with this movie. And working with Elizabeth Olsen and Alicia Vikander was just, an amazing experience. They're two of the best actors out there. I think they're two of the people at the top of the game, and they were, wonderful to work with. And I learned a lot from working with them. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how it's all shaped up and to experience Toronto Film Festival, which I've never been to before.
I think you'll enjoy it. I absolutely love it. And there's something beautiful about film festivals where people wait in lines to see something they have no idea what it is more than
Yeah, it's
with a
pretty
little
special.
tagline.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love, the only film festival I've sort of been to in that way is London Film Festival, and I really, some of the most important experiences I've had in a cinema have been that feeling of not knowing really what you're going to go see, and then sort of having your breath taken away. So hopefully we can do the same thing with the assessment.
for sure. Well, I'll make sure to say hi when I see you there. I'll hopefully catch you on the
Yeah,
carpet or somewhere else as well. And then hopefully you get a chance to kind of discover Toronto and everything around there too. We look forward to talking with this film, many people, and then talking with you about the assessment. And then the nerd part of me at the back is also looking forward to maybe some more Dr. Watson in the future with a NOLA 3 if that should occur in a timely manner. So I'll leave that out there though. But I thank you very much for your time.
thank you.